Zay Pro Poppy.
Nina, great grand rising. Hope everyone had a great rising this morning. Hope everyone slept well. All right, we got Chief Bluefeather coming in this rising. Let me see who I got online this morning. Let me jump to this chat real quick. All right, there we go. Michael Brown, what's good? Wanted to make sure you can hear me very well. Hold on, let me turn this down. All right, I can see, I can hear. All right, now we're going to tackle a few things. The reason why we titled it, Do Not Go Back to Sleep, is because we're trying to make sure we ain't being played, if you know what I'm saying. We want to make sure we're not being played. Everyone's being safe and cautious, and we don't want people to get back inside and then start depending and listening to everything the government says as it is like it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? So I got Chief coming in, and she's gonna express how she feels about it. What's good, Waldo? What's good with you? I got Chief coming in. She's gonna express how she feels about it. She's gonna express it, and then we got Sharka is gonna come in, and she's gonna express how she feels about it as well. And we're going to hit it real hard this rising. I hope everyone slept good. And I should be getting a call from her like right about, let me see, now. So I got Chief getting ready to call in, and we're going to tackle this. And we're going to see what's busting. What's good with you, Mr. Waldo? How you doing? You know, a lot of people have been chilling at home. So I know a lot of folks been up late, nothing really to do. All the stores closed. A lot of people out of work, and y'all know I get up early. Let's see here. So what y'all think? Dino, no time. What's good? Alito. So, um, a rundown what the president was saying. Here we go. Alito, Chief.
Alito, Nina Law, Great Roger.
Nino why. So, you were saying we named it. We taught it do not go back to sleep, and you were saying, um, what was you saying about this government and everything that's going on, and how you feel about it?
Um, I don't know, my spirit was just up, not in a negative way, in a good way, and I'm thinking about everything that's going on. I'm thinking about our movement, our awakening, and I'm thinking about our future generation. And in my mind, I'm like, this is not where we're supposed to be headed. It may, it's like there's forces that are making things look a particular way, but my soul, my spirit, my whole being, and just speaking to, looking at the fam and, talking to other, fellow brothers and sisters of our nation, is that this is not a time for us to go back to sleep. It's not. No matter how things are looking in a particular way, there's always another way of looking at them. So while we're watching, I have to shut the TV off, just to not get absorbed in the constant barraging of the messaging that they're putting out, because of, some of it is true, some of it wishy-washy, because they're not consistent with details, with the statistics. So the other side of that is look at the other messaging, looking at what our mother is saying, what the land is saying, what the spirit animals are saying. Those things count as well. And I don't want us to lose sight of that because of things that are coming down that look horrible. And there are people crying out and just confused about all this because it doesn't actually make sense. Is this prophecy? Is this revelations? Is this the evening the condor? Like, what is this? And I just feel, I don't know, I feel at peace, but I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for us to pull together and respond and let them know we're here. We're not asleep, and we're not going back
That's right.
to sleep. We're awake. And we are the aborigines of this land. We are the people of this land. And all universal declarations that are on the books that are available to us, including the ICCPR, the International Convention on Political Civil Rights. You have the United Nations Declaration of Universal Human Rights, a very interesting document. You have the ADRIP, of course, and you have the UN DRIP. And we have our own constitution, the Great Law of Peace, because we're in the higher law now. And I think we need to pay attention that we're not being dragged back down into, I guess this 3D material contract world, because there are higher laws in contract. There are natural laws. There are laws of the universe. There's laws of nature. And those are higher laws than contract law. Because when you're going into courtrooms, that's you're accepting the contract going in there, because any attorney will tell you, and, they work for the bar, and that's not the bar. They don't represent us. So that's why being able to utilize the agent where you have a sovereign interpreter, where we have our own cultural and linguistic interpreters, that we start to use them. And I think that we do need to have some type of response to things that are going on, because we're supposed to be at the table of decision making. We're still under colonial occupation, and decisions are being made about basic freedoms again. I'm like, are we kidding me? Our ancestors already shed the blood. Our ancestors have already taken the ass whipping. There's no way in hell that we should be laying down and allow the efforts of our ancestors, many who never stopped fighting the encroachment upon our way of life in this land and just lay here and accept everything that's going on. Now, I am not a proponent of foolishness where you go out here and act like a fool and just be crazy and put yourself and family at risk. But there is a such thing as strategy. There's a such thing as being strategic and using wisdom. And let's use the outlet. You know, our arrows are our pens are our arrows. Our voices are our arrows. You know, we don't have to get into violence because we're non-violent people. We don't have to use anything in those sort of means to bring attention to ourselves in a negative way. We don't have to, engage law enforcement in negative ways. We don't have to do all that. We're smarter. We work smarter, not harder. But I do think that we have arrows that we can apply to this situation and let them know we're here. We're awake. And we're not going to be staying cooped up in our houses like that. We're supposed to be going on a curfew tonight. And I just thought about that. I'm like, wait a minute. I love being outside in the outdoors, especially in the nighttime, stargazing and just being out there in the elements. And now you tell me I got to stay stuck up in what are we doing? Especially when
they're not saying stay on your land. They're saying you actually got to go in the house. You can't stay like in your yard and like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I'm not sure because some places people are saying that they're expecting you to stay in. I'm not, they're testing the waters as well. They're testing to see how far they're going to be able to push us and how far we just going to go along with it because you're scaring people into the house. People are being forced into because people are being afraid of this pandemic and they're bringing down the vaccines. Like all of a sudden there's so much misinformation that's going on out there and it's not matching with the hysteria that is being caused. And then we have to look at all this in light of who we are. Let's not forget, that's the priest that I'm saying. Let's not forget who we are. We're not just going to get swallowed up in all this like we don't exist. This is our land. We are the Aborigines of this land. We are the American Indians, and we have a right to state a claim to say, hey, we need to be talking to y'all, and y'all need to be talking to us in a different way. We need to be sitting down. When you make decisions like this, they're actually, according to universal law, you're supposed to consult with us because we have ways of healing ourselves. We have ways, we need outdoor air. We need to be in the woods and to be around the pine trees and the earth.
That sun.
We need that. And
right.
We have a different way of healing. And see, because they're trying to make it a worldwide pandemic shutdown. Okay, but we still have sovereignty. We still have the right to approach it in the way that we need to that's not going to hurt and harm any other people. And I think that's where it gets sticky, is where they're trying to make it seem like if you're not complying, you're going to spread and do all this stuff. I'm like, first of all, let's really talk about what it is. Let's get out real information because we have a lot of misinformation that's out there with regard to it being defined as a pandemic. And I think that there are some messaging that's coming even from the White House that is trying to hint at some things that we can handle this a different way. So I guess instead of us getting swallowed up into fear, into thinking, oh, we're living out this prophecy or we're living out that, man, we're living out the future that the ancestors saw us in, and it wasn't to go back to sleep. So,
facts. It sure wasn't. It wasn't. That wasn't part of the plan.
No. They know this census is about to blow up. This census is about to explode with the American Indian population. And you're going to have to explain to the world, understand some of this that's going on. We count in these issues. They don't talk about us in the public. They don't talk about us in the mainstream. But we're not going to sit here and act like we don't count in the decisions that are made at higher levels when these things are going down. And it is critical and important that when you got a census coming out and everybody is all over the social media, families are talking, they're like, look, I'm clicking this American Indian, but, there's even debates on, well, what tribe, what do we put down? And some people are like, oh, don't put down this if you can't prove this and you can't prove all that. I mean, it's a lot of things going on. And I'm like this. I'm like, well, you
A
ain't
lot
making.
of people saying that. A lot of people are saying that.
That's because it's fear. You're afraid. And I understand that. But first of all, this is their paperwork. Again, this is our land. Either we're going to be who we are or we're not. One of our council members, clan mothers that works with us, she does a lot of advocacy helping us with some of the legal issues and looking at the international law. Okay, either we Indians or we not. It's really that simple because we did not create the paper genocide. This is the social side. This is how I view it. And I'm all for having your doing your genealogy, having your paper. Those things are important, and those are things that we should be doing and helping each other do it. But when I felt like the ancestors called me or prompted me to open my heart to do this thing, I've always been like a natural advocate for people anyway, but to take it to this level is something in my life I had never even expected to do, but it happened, and I just answered, and I said, okay, I'm going to do it. But what led me to even be where I'm at today is my heart for our people who we know who we are, but we struggle in it because it's not easy. We're still victims of paper genocide. We are still victims of a system that has decommissioned us as Indians, who told us that we could only be one Indian or one type of tribe, and you couldn't be in the group, or you're no longer Indian, you're a Negro, you're Afro. Like on my husband and I marriage certificate, it says we're Afro-American. Well, what nation is Afro-American? What tribe is Afro-American? I have a document of one of my, because half my mother's people come from the Catawba area, but we're traditionally Cherokee. We go by our ancient names, Cherokee, Cherokees, that's what they call us. But they marked him as yellow. What is yellow? What in the world is yellow? Like, I never even seen that before. It's an old marriage document, and his wife, my great-great-great-grandmama Dovey, she's colored, but he's yellow. What the hell is yellow? These are the things they've done. They've made us yellow. They've made us mulattoes. They've made us colored. They've made us Negroes. You did this to us. And there's actually stipulations in universal law that when you do this to a people, you're supposed to be assisting. That's in the Articles of Age as well. So I guess my position on that is that you made me put down African American, or at least you infer that I'm African American all this time. You ain't make me put down no tribe from Africa. What tribe in Africa? What Negro tribe am I from? So
Everybody
I think
come from a tribe.
Exactly. So where's that though? All the census that they've been taking all these years, what tribe did I have to prove I was from in Africa? Or what tribe did I have to prove that I was from black land? Because remember, they had us down as black. So you didn't make us prove all that. You're not going to turn on. So you got to understand the funny thing about self-identification and it's all this federal recognition. See, these little, in fact, in the case that we're dealing with right now, these little laws that they're coming up on, what makes an Indian, who is an American Indian, these definitions are coming from a government that decommissions you as an Indian and create a whole race of political Indians that you're accepting who are Indians. And I'm not saying that they're not Indians of our complexion that are actually fairly recognized. They are, and there always have been. Actually, people I've talked to I've heard a brother come on a podcast some time ago where there always has been so quote unquote black Indians that have been recognized. They're just, we don't see them out in the public and they're kind of quiet, but we're a different breed. Our generation is coming through and saying we taking everybody. We want the whole damn family. So in reality, the majority or the most or many of so-called African American, colored, Negro, yellow, whatever people you want to call us, are in fact the American Indian or have significant blood heritage of the Aborigines of this land. And that's the standpoint that we take. Then we work out the particulars. Then we work out how we can help our people get to that place of fully, knowing, like matching your oral history. So now we can find in the document. And there are people who are gifted at that. I know Phoenix Blue is gifted at that. Tasha Shai is gifted at that. You're gifted. There are people who are really gifted at being able to help people find their way. But we don't need to like put people down if they're having a difficult time doing it, and understand we're all brothers and sisters. Because if you find one part of the family say, I'm an Indian, I got the paperwork, what does that mean for your cousins? Aren't we related people?
Right.
Aren't we related people? Like, what we should be doing too is connecting ourselves to each other. Like, we're working on that as well. Like, we're finding the lines how we're all connected, even within our own council. Like, hey, such Johnson, that was such a, hey, that's on my list. Hey, that's how we became cousins and them down the road. Because all these other marriages in between the cousins and the aunts, it's following your grandparents' line, your grandmothers, your great-grandfathers, and all those lines. But don't forget about the great aunties and uncles and all of them, because that adds on a whole bunch of other surnames and people to look up, and how we are really a related people. And I think that's a lot. It is a lot, and that's how we see. They mess with our minds so much and made us so they just departmentally. You understand? There's this society with them. They're departmentalized. This is a departmental. It's colonization in little colonies and little parts and little boxes, and you stay over in that box, but you can't be in this box. Wasn't that the whole thing with the Dogs Commission? You had to choose a tribe. When we mix with each other as a people, how are you gonna tell me I can only be this or I can only be that? How is that possible? Or you can only live in this area. If I'm going to choose an area of my people, I got a whole bunch of areas I could choose as my roots of my people. Georgia's a root. Georgia's a root. That comes out of my mother's branch. I can go to North Carolina and the borderline of South Carolina. That's another branch. I can go up to Virginia with over there, in the Powhatan area where some of my dad's people still live. I'm like, I got a whole bunch of places that I can call home through my family's line. So why are we allowing ourselves to limit ourselves to places when this is our homeland? That's what
Putting us back to sleep. Put you
back to sleep where you can only be here and you can only be in this clan. You can only be. How is that possible? My daddy's Virginia Indians. He's coming up from Virginia, and my mama's people from Georgia and North Carolina. They meet. Okay, when they converge, they met up north. So that's different bloodlines coming together, right? So, okay, my great-grandmother, I think my mom, okay, I'm trying to go back because I be, so much information be in my head. I'm trying to think of the first generation to come up. Okay, my mother's mother came up from North Carolina. She met her husband, married. He's from Savannah Bluff down here in the Yamacraw Bluff. This is where all my mama's daddy people's from. It's tradition from the Savannah area. He comes up, okay, they meet. They live in New York, but they're from the South. But I'm saying, if I'm going to choose home, I got a couple homes I could choose. So do I ignore my granddaddy's side and only go with my grandmama's side? Do I ignore my dad's side and only go with my mom's side? See, that's their thinking. We got to get back into the whole. I understand it's okay to be, we can, do your own thing, but we're a family. If we start thinking of ourselves like a family, that helps to cure some of our own ills. I don't look at people in our nation.
That's the hardest thing.
It's the hardest thing
to do.
It is. Right. I don't look at you as a member. You're my kin. And I learned that. I said, I don't even try to use that word membership anymore. I mean, I'm the type of person who likes to evolve. I never say that I got it all. I don't have it all. I want to keep learning. My mom said, as long as I'm above ground, we're going to keep learning. That's how my mom is. She's 70-something years old. Bless you, Imanana, if you're out there listening, because sometimes she chooses, maybe on her way to work or something. I don't know. Sometimes she tries to catch things online. But I love her because this is an elder woman who always learns. She stays on the curve, 70-something years old, busting out knowledge, going against the grain. And we got to protect our elders that are doing that. Some of our elders are afraid to do that, but we got elders who are not. We got gangster elders who be like, look. That's right. We do have gangster elders now, but they need to know that we ain't going to let this shit slip out of our hands. We are family. I don't look at you. When you and your family, when we kind of met, we're not.
I just took a shot when he get the fuck.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they cheated me.
Wow. Okay. So, really, you ain't losing no money. Man, close the door. Anyway, sorry, y'all. Eagle Eye tripping, boy, that playing fool with him. I'm like, boy, you ain't losing no coins. Go on, man, with that mess. But anyway, like when we met y'all family and stuff, it was like a clique. It's like we just know each other. We're family. I don't look at members. We're kinship. We are peoples. If we are Aborigines of this world and our people split up and moved and migrated all over the place and ran out of our towns, we are related people.
Mm-hmm.
And I
So
know
you
that's
think
a hard thing to do, but, I don't know.
it is? It's hard to get the family back together. That's the hardest thing. But do you think that they are trying to put us back to sleep and they're pushing to see how far they can control us?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
I
have
think
a
so
lot of
too.
thoughts on a lot of things. To be honest with you, I don't know what this is because, like I said, I'm looking at definitions of things. I'm listening to people in the medical field, and I'm just like, okay, numbers aren't adding up, ratios aren't adding up. There are just some things that are not adding up, and it seems like there's a rush to put us in this worldwide lockdown for what? We are too advanced as a society. You're telling me that we can't come on. You can't say we're advanced as a society, but yet we're bumbling around and like we don't know what to do for a virus.
Mm-hmm. Someone said, Truth Teller said, I think they're trying to put us back to sleep and keep us in fighting.
Of course.
Like
And you know what? Exactly. I agree with that because, like I said, there's two messaging. You have you have their messaging, but we also have our messaging. There's messaging for us too. Look outside. Listen to these birds. Listen to them. They're talking all the time. They're talking loud. And either we're Indians or we're not. That's what my sister's story. I say either we Indians or we not. My husband always say, we Indians or we not. If we're Indians, are we going? Do we trust our messaging, or are we going to just trust everything we see on TV? What are we going to do? And I think there should be a balance. I'm not saying ignore everything. Pay attention. I'm paying attention too. And I'm not trying to misguide anyone leading by, but I just can't believe that our ancestors took all these hits, the tortures, the fighting, the warring against each other, having to run, the murders, the things, the horrible things that they've done to our children. Everybody knows about the Atlanta child murders. All these babies out here that were just murdered. And it's still, these are, you still kill our kids. That hasn't stopped. You still kill our kids. You still lock our kids up. You still lock up our husbands. You still down our mothers. We, incarcerate our families through DFACs of all things. You're supposed to be human services. They always finding why is every daggone arm of every department head always got to lead to jail? They have other ways of criminalizing us. And how does a social service department become an arm of the criminal justice system? And it really is. They call it the new Jane Crow. How many families and women and men are just locked up and families torn apart through health and human services. Health and human services. We're supposed to have services. That's not. So I'm saying they haven't stopped doing that. The war against us never stopped. Colorable laws against the American Indian has never stopped. The war on poverty. Who does a war on poverty? War on drugs. What did that mean? War on drugs is how it got us we're at the helm of mass incarceration for the planet. All these southern states where there's no Indians that don't exist anymore. Shoot, these are the states that got some of the highest numbers of mass incarceration. Georgia, Alabama.
Right. But see, that's the reason why. Because it'll make it so easy for you to figure it out. And that's the reason why these states like Virginia and Georgia has been bucking on Indians since their existence, because the Indians are the ones that had to fight to take the land.
Right.
It only makes sense. It only makes sense.
And they put us to sleep, and I mean, we're doing what we're doing here in Georgia, and I'm just saying it's open discrimination. It's just they haven't learned. All this time that you've been in our land with the freedoms that you have, with freedom of speech, with freedom of religion, with all these freedoms, but yet you still deny the American Aborigine basic human rights. You still do it. You got God. You go to church on Wednesday. They go to church on Friday. They go to church sometime on Saturday, Sunday. All this church going, all this so-called democracy and high law that you have, but yet you still sit here, right here in Georgia, on this Georgia Council of American Indian Concerns, and you go click on it and you look at the people on that council and you look at who's connected to the senators and all that stuff, and you know what's going on. They know who we are. They know what we're fighting for, and they know who we are and who we are truthfully. So what I'm saying is, do we allow them to keep taking us down the path of make-believe and pretend? Because if we roll over with this, then what does that mean for anything that we have been doing?
Yeah, statistics show that was very easy. We did a scare. We told everybody to go in the house. They all went in the house very well. Now they're saying that because of all the people that was on the beaches and the people that was shooting basketball, they're trying to give them 30 days in jail and up to a $1,500 fine if you're caught out after curfew.
Yeah,
I seen that this morning.
Right. Now here we go again. You found another way to enslave.
Okay, I got one more for you.
Go ahead.
I got one more for you, Chief.
Okay.
Me and Tasha, she did a bill about a week ago on the first slave boat. Okay, and it was about the slaves being captured. I mean, not slaves, but people being captured off the streets and put on this boat to go to New England. I mean, not New England, to England. And basically what I'm saying is they took the homeless people and put them on these boats and sent them over there. Mm-hmm. And what it looked like right now is the homeless don't have no home to go to. So who's to say once they got everyone in their homes that they're going to be running around here snatching people off the streets and sending them elsewhere?
Exactly.
Because they do it every time I ain't mean to cut you off, but every time a big event comes in town, like say the Super Bowl came to Atlanta, they would take the homeless, scoop them up, put them on buses, and send them to other cities like Macon or somewhere else, and then there's no follow up to see if those folks are still there, if they made it back to Atlanta, or if them folks then died or what. They just moving people around at free will, and they've been able to do it. They're showing you they're doing it. They go on the news and tell you, oh, they're scooping up the homeless people and sending them to Macon, and now you got everyone in the home, and you got the homeless out on the streets. Who's to say they're not scooping them up and doing God knows what with them?
No, you're right. And I'm like, as long as we volunteer for this mess and don't have any type of response or, think ahead and how we can strategize in addressing this issue, because when you make these decisions, you're supposed to acknowledge the indigenous people. You're supposed to confer with us. We're supposed to have some type of say so. We're supposed to, because you can't, there's no exiling us again in our own land. It's like some of these places out here banish people. You'll be going up in court, they banish people. How you going to banish me from my land? Now, if you murdering, you doing something, I can understand if it's a high crime or, something where it's a real high crime against humanity. But these type of things are still happening. I've been in the courtroom where you're banished. Don't ever come here again because you stole something. This is our land.
That's crazy.
Yes, they still banish people in this country. Yes, they do.
From counties.
In counties.
From counties, yeah.
These county cartel families who are locking down, who have locked themselves, especially in these so-called states where they claim they know Indians. Because if you look on the maps and go into the HUD maps and all the different departments, when they tell you, when they go to the tribal pages and stuff, and they tell you to look at the regions on what regional offices cover that, you hardly see anything for the Southeast because they just reclassified us. You didn't remove all of our people because you couldn't remove all of us. Too many. So you just reclassified us. Took us to pay for genocide. Expunged us from the record, pretty much. Right?
That's right.
That's really what they did. They just expunged us from the record. We're just walking around, looking just like the Aborigines who they met when they came here, but, you're sticking these little suspect class labels on us and stuff, but you just expunged us from the record because you could not remove us like that. And we're awake and we're here, and they're bucking. Heck yeah, they're bucking. Georgia's bucking right now. You bucking because, the truth bankrupts the lie. If I got to start admitting that, you brown people are that, then what does that say for our council that's sitting up here? It says a lot. Maybe it says it's time for you to turn around and stop doing what you're doing. But we can't just keep sitting here allowing you to take our rights because it don't fit the mainstream narrative that y'all created. That's not our fault.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Oh, my
Yes.
God. Hold on a second.
yeah, hold on a second. Hold on.
Let me see. Waldo, Indian removal has never stopped. I'm over here talking. I'm on mute. And Truth Teller 2020 is just trying to control folks. I totally agree. I totally agree. It has never stopped, and now they're trying to pull a fast one, and we don't need to let this happen. We
Yeah,
don't
that
need to
was
let
Eagle
folks
getting
fall.
excited. That was Eagle getting excited because these travel papers they got people having too.
Right? Oh yeah. But
He's
you said
looking
they
at that.
already was giving people travel papers last week.
Yeah, my son-in-law got it and my nephew got it because they work week.
So
Yeah, before the curfew. That's what
this is before the curfew even hit.
Yes. Corporations are already prepared. See, they're playing with it, and now you're going back to papers. Papers for
Well,
what?
corporations deal with corporations though.
That's it. Yeah, they're ready. They're prepared. Yeah, they get their papers before the curfew. The curfew, in fact, the curfew it starts tonight in this area. Some people already been on lockdown for 2 weeks. I can post you one from our sister that's out in Alabama. They already started. Now,
Right,
I think
because
it's 24 hours. Now,
yesterday
I think
was the most deadliest day in America, supposedly, of people dying from coronavirus. But how we know those people are not just dying from normal causes, like asthma, pneumonia, and different things like that,
yeah.
and they're just labeling just because they died. Oh, it's coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? Just automatically
But the numbers
coronavirus.
aren't adding up. The thing is, we know how to add and subtract and divide. You know, we got as a good education. We know how to add and subtract. Look at the numbers. Look at the ratio between the
Oh
number
yeah, I did a. Let me
right
find
that
that
they're
post.
saying have
Go
it,
ahead.
and the number of people that they're saying are dying from it. It don't add up to a pandemic.
Right. I had some numbers on Facebook I had posted earlier, and it was talking about exactly what you're talking about. The numbers don't add up, and I'm gonna go over the numbers. And somebody told me the numbers wasn't accurate, and then they showed their statistic, and the numbers still didn't add up. So here it is right here. I'm gonna go ahead and click on this and pull this up so everyone can see it real quick. Let me see. Do.
But we're Indians. We're intuitive. Trust your spirit. Trust the voice of the ancestors. People laugh as a people. You know, they would say, "Oh yeah, black people they think that," but they watch what we think because we're not stupid. We're not
Right.
stupid. We know in our gut when something don't feel right, when something don't smell right. We know we are intuitive, spiritual people. Even as much as we have been colonized and we done been through every religion in the world, and we done, they done put different gods on top of our head. They done built on top of our temples and our sacred places and hide in our mounds and things like that. We still are intuitive people, and we still can smell when something stinks. And we need to trust our nose.
Okay, here we go. I got it up right here. Let me see. Okay, there we go. It's worldwide. Well, let's get to the United States. They saying that these are the numbers that's been confirmed. It was 46,447 people. Recovered is 315. Only 315 people recovered, and 587 has died. Okay. Now, so that means you got roughly 30. Oh, what's that? 45 more thousand people walking around with the coronavirus. Then is what they're saying. Hello? Can you hear me? I ain't lose her, did I? Oh, I think I lost her. But yeah, so I don't think that. Let me see. Oh yeah, we lost Chief, y'all. We lost her. Okay, but I don't think those numbers are making any sense. In China, they at least had 73,000 to recover, and so that means as of right now, we have 45,000 Americans walking around with the Rona. There we go. Hello.
I'm sorry. I got cut off.
Oh, you good. You good. You good. You good. But I was just trying to show the numbers. I can read them to you. It was United States, 46,447 cases confirmed, okay?
Okay.
And recovered was 315 has recovered. And the death rate was 500, I mean, not rate, but the deaths was 587. So that means out of 300 recovered and out of almost 600 deaths, you still got 45,000 people walking around with the corona, walking around United States.
Yeah, is it any different from the flu? I mean, I think we go through these bouts of okay, I used to teach in public school, and I can recall certain times of the year when some virus, something will come through, it'll sweep like a whole grade, like all the little kindergartens will get it, or certain classes just knock them down, 5 or 6 out of this class, 10 out of that class, and because it was, either some virus went around, there's a respiratory issue, a thing like that. So I think the issue here is they're magnifying the coronavirus, which is not new, as far as being a virus that has been known, right? Because coronavirus is on the Lysol can. You can look on it, it is on there. We know animals have gotten it. There's a vaccine, actually, I think they have for the coronavirus. Animals. So it's not like it's necessarily new, maybe among humans, I guess, or among people getting it the way we're getting it, or people getting it the way they're getting it, maybe. But we go through these bouts of respiratory issues and viruses and things like that. I think that's normal. And the problem is you're taking something that I'm not saying you don't take it seriously, because you should take it seriously, because, those type of respiratory problems, that they can cause death. I mean, I had a really bad infection last year. Coughing incessantly, to the point of scratching my throat, making my throat like bloody. It's just bad. And they diagnosed me as acute bronchitis. Now, who knows? It could have been the coronavirus. I don't know. I know it was a cough that I never had before in my life, but, I healed from it. So I'm not saying don't take it seriously, but the numbers aren't matching, and the outcomes are not matching now, unless they're going to try to make it be something more than what it is. And I think that's just the wisdom that we need to look at. So are we going to be willing to just go ahead and go on back to sleep just because this is here? What does that mean? That doesn't change who we are and what we still have to press forward and what we need to do. So
that's basically it. I'm over here pulling up stats and stuff. I just wanted to get a better statistic of what they've been saying, because right now Wuhan don't have no more cases. They opening up Wuhan. They letting them folks back out on the street again, and it's like it never happened. And now they're trying to say that we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back right by Easter. But all of that's the president saying this, but the doctors are saying this. The doctor's saying, nah, y'all need to stay in the house. We just now at the beginning of it, and things about to get 10 times worse.
Yeah, see, they're sending out mixed messages. They're sending out mixed messages. There's a lot of mixed messaging going on, because I think there's a rage and obviously there's some battle mix going on within the government on which way we're going to go with this, how far, because it's out of order. If there's an agenda attached to this, it's out of order. And you're trying to take a people that you have already abused and tried to bring to ruin and have been warring against, never stop. And I think you're stepping on, I think you could go but so far. There are universal laws. I do believe in galactic law. I do believe in universal law. And I think you can go too far. You get a certain amount of time period, and you're trying to reset something to keep something going that's not supposed to exist. The system will buck. Because if you look out your window, what is nature telling you? What is the land telling you? And now you want us to stay in the house and not be on the land. That's where we need the healing from. Shoot, it's not resistant to heat, right? Or we need to be out in the heat. And look at how fast spring has sprung. All this heat that we're getting. Mama healing us anyway. Mama healing us anyway.
It ain't like that up north though. They still walking around in fat goose coats and stuff like that.
Oh wow! Because I know it's hot. It's been warm down. It's been warm here. I mean, warm. Like spring just sprung in a long time ago. Because I listened. What we've watched the birds. Birds tell you because they're back. You hear them chirping loud, even though it's still a little brisk and chilly. But these birds have been around. They're talking, and we need to listen. Or do we pretend that don't exist for us? Are we that colonized in our mind that we are so separated from nature that now that's, are we going to let them punk us out of our knowledge of nature and the fact that we're connected to this land and the earth speaks to us and the spirit animals speak to us, the trees, the wind spirits are all around us? I mean, are we going to be punked out of our heritage like that? I don't know. We just got to think about that. What are we doing all this fighting for? We're going to get punked out of it. Out of one time and just click the button and go on back and lay down. It don't matter if we're Indians anymore. Yes, it does. It's still our land. And now you're trying to lock us down in the house. It's our land. And we got to think what was coming up. A lot of new births coming up. You got this new census. It's our new year. And they know that thing's about to explode. Now you don't hardly hear anything on it. You don't hear nothing about a census on TV. I haven't heard anything.
So as of right now, let me show this diagram I got up. It's a lot. It changes with what's going on, supposedly, anyway. Let me blow it up a little bit so y'all can see it. I want them to say I'm making this up. Okay, here we go. Now, right here, yesterday, the U.S. had 225 deaths. That was the new deaths. It was 225. And 11,000 new cases. That was yesterday. We had a total of active cases right now at 53,000. And we had 1,000 that's critical. But today, as of right now, we only had 87 new cases, but it's still early in the day. 87 new cases, with four deaths starting today. As of 12 o'clock last night, we had 4 deaths. So if it doubles, and this is what I was trying to explain to everybody, if yesterday we had 11,000 cases and 225 deaths, if today doubles that to 500 deaths, then you might have an issue. That's just how I see it. Like you really might have an issue.
Right. Right. I mean, that's just common sense. I'm not saying don't use common sense, and I would definitely not a proponent. That's why I said we have to use wisdom and do take things seriously and take your health seriously. Take the precautions. Those are wise things to do. All I'm saying is to look at it from a broader perspective. What is this going to mean overall in general? That we're still Indians in our land. We have knowledge, too.
That's right. We have a lot of remedies.
We have a lot of remedies. We have a right
to
those remedies.
Mm-hmm. You just got to get back to it.
Yeah, and you telling people they can't go outside, can't do this and do that. Now you take it away. Once again, now you're going to, decommission what we can do on our own land. Now you're going back into the tower. You can tell us we can't go and pluck them pine needles that's in the back. We can't do our natural medicinals because now we can't go out. or we have to be in a certain time, or, I mean, what are we saying? We're indigenous people. We have a right to have responses to these things that occur for us. And what can we add? You know, how can we help preserve life and you know, help increase the health and safety of people? We have a say. This is still our land. That has not changed. That's the one variable that has not changed. That variable is constant. We are the people of the land.
That's facts.
And I'm just like, well, you're just not gonna punk us into, you know, being subdued where we just don't think and we just gonna go along. And I'm not saying not go along and doing the precautions, of course, that part, but we're intelligent. We got some ideas. We got some ways that we may be able to help combat some things. So we should be allowed, we have a right to do that. It's universal law. We have a right to do that. So.
That's right. Now, Phoenix say fill out them senses. That's what we was just talking about. Grand Rising, the youth, Phoenix in the building. Sheba, Lloyd, Loyalty, Coexist, Davita, Tanya. Shout out to everyone that's in the building.
Where's Shaka?
She's supposed to been got on. I'm looking for her myself.
Oh, okay. Oh my God.
She be on.
Okay.
I'm looking for it too. But let me see. But yeah, Rhonda, what you think about the census? You think it's very important that they fill out the census? I think it's very important because I think that if it wasn't for the census, for the ones that we was able to find on the census, it was able to get us just a tad bit further without us having to go, you know what I'm saying? Without the census, a lot of us wouldn't even know who we are today. So if it wasn't for our family members that did take the time out to get that filled out on that census, I think that it was very important.
The census itself helps us to prove our case of paper genocide, of ethnic genocide through paper. Why? Because how the heck is my family black on this one? 10 years later, they're colored, they're Negro, they're mulatto, and I'm still stuck on that yellow. I said yellow. What in the world is yellow? I just don't understand it. What is yellow?
Why would someone say not to fill out the census, though?
I'm sorry?
Why would someone come on and say, you know, don't fill out the census? Because, you know, I didn't heard a few brothers say it. So I was just wondering, why would someone say that?
I think people do have reservations about it. I've had reservations about it as well. But I think wisdom and just weights and balances should always be the issue of the day. Let's weigh it out. Let's discuss it. Let's balance it out. We're critical thinkers. Let's think of, because remember, there's always an overt and a covert reason when things are done under this colonial government. If there's one reason to do it, and then there's what does it mean? What's the push for the 2020 census shelter? What's the push? We got to ask ourselves those questions, and there's nothing wrong with asking those questions because we are critical thinkers, and we're not a people that, by design, we don't just go along with stuff. We never have. You ever go even in our state, colonial state, you know, you go into the so-called black neighborhood, we'll have a whole different view on what's going on because we sense things a little bit differently, and that's okay. We should. It's not silly. It's not something to be made fun of because we're not ghetto. It ain't got nothing to do with that. We're intuitive people. We know how to put things together, and sometimes the pieces don't fit. So there's nothing wrong, I think, with having critical discussions on it, and let's talk about what it means on both sides, and let's use wisdom and just weights and balances. Because there is overt and then there's covert. Mm-hmm. When they're counting you, that's I mean, and I do understand with the, you know, in the book of Numbers and things like that, but we're dealing with a hostile occupier. So, again, there's always a reason behind a reason when things are done. So I think there's arguments on both sides. I've kind of heard some of the things, but like you said, it's a good thing that our ancestors, we have some paper trail to even help us get on the path of, you know, knowledge itself. So you have to look at it that way. If, some of the brothers here are saying, well, that would be selfish for us not to do it, because then if our kids and grandkids and great-grands go looking for us, they won't find us. If we don't.
No, they not. They not gonna find them. They're gonna be lost in the sauce.
Yeah, and then they said if you don't do it, they stare. Now, see, but this is interesting. Again, you putting people on social distancing rules, or you're setting these rules of quarantining people, and now social distancing. So that means they're not going to have people coming to your doors with the census. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. They're going to drop the whole thing out. You won't hear anything. What happens to all the people that's going to come to your door? But if you have quarantining, if you have...
So you think that was a hoax, that they had people coming out looking for jobs and stuff like that for census? Because they had came out here trying to hire everybody to be on the census, and then next thing I know, the virus hit, and now, everything's being pushed off. Like the taxes being pushed off and all this other stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, because all of a sudden you don't hear anything. But if you have it's the same thing now. Voting for a president. How some people ain't coming out? How are we still voting? How you're telling people to practice social distancing? You're putting people on curfew. Some curfews are 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I think Athens, Clark, Georgia. What was their curfew? 8 or 9? 8. I mean, people have been on curfew for a minute. We're just catching up to each other because, like you said, they're piecemealing it. This town is doing it. Then this one. It's not a broad sweep. It's not. That's what they want. It seemed like they were trying to push the president to do, is to make one broad sweep. Click the button. Everybody shut down. Click the button. But he's not doing it. He's not doing it. States want to cry. You got state rights and all of that stuff, and he's forcing the states to do their job. Then you do it. And that's why I think you have this piecemeal of who's on a curfew, who's not, because people are having to make decisions on their own, I guess, governments within themselves, and they're talking about it, and then their mayors or whoever they're talking about, who's going to do what next. And I think that's why you can have the next town over. They don't have a curfew, but we do.
Right. That's what tripped me out, is you all got a curfew.
Yeah, and that just came yesterday. Yeah, well, while we didn't have anything. So they're leading up to it, like they're rolling it out little by little. There's no constant. So that's what I'm saying. It's wishy-washy. Wishy-washy.
Yeah, they're trying to keep you guessing.
Yeah. So the same thing with the census. Now you don't hear nothing. So what happened to the jobs? What happened to people coming to your door? But how are you going to come to the door if you quarantine? How are you going to come to the door if you're supposed to be on social distancing order? You have to follow the rules of social distancing. So how are you going to do that? See what I'm saying? But again, like I said, the census was critical, right? Because now it was about to explode. The American Indian population is about to explode.
It didn't explode. They already see how many folks already applications and everything else is changing. Everybody's putting American Indian on everything they do, and at the hospital they're like, hold on, all these folks is American Indians. They not niggas no more. What's going on? Hold on, we got a problem.
Yep.
Break it.
Yeah. Because my son's girlfriend, she was his doctor, who came back, and she was so excited because she said, I didn't even tell him. But it's on our paper, American Indian. Yeah, because you doing what you need to do to change your talking status, So, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So it's already, they see that already, because we're already making those changes. They see those on applications, driver's licenses, social security numbers. They've already seen that we're making those changes. So here we got a census that's coming, and they can see that the American Indian population is about to explode on paper in the census document.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
You made a comment the other day about somebody saying something about not putting a tribe. So you're going to need to talk to me a little bit more about that. Because if we put Native American, we can't put a tribe. So how are we supposed to get around that?
No, it's not Native American. Not on there. It's American Indian.
It means what's on there?
It's American Indian.
Okay.
I haven't even seen it yet.
Okay, but
I mean, like a physical one.
A lot of us can't. We don't have physical.
I understand it. Yeah, that's what the argument is too, about the tribes and putting that down too and stuff like that. So, yeah, I know. So, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's going to explode. So I don't know. Now you don't hear nothing about
Fanny
it.
said they knew this day was coming.
What's he saying?
Fanny said they knew this day was coming.
Yeah, they knew it was coming, and they trying to bait. Yes, sister, yes, and you can't tell me that does not play a role in stuff that's going on. And you trying to hurt. Oh, it's almost like you get to the street and you know how the light hurried up and turns red, and you screech your wheels, and that's what I feel like we're in. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. We can't do this right. Hold up. And you got forces fighting. You know, you got. Yeah, she can't.
So yeah, this is serious. So yeah, I'm just thinking like everybody know we done planted so many seeds and so many people has planted so many seeds in people's heads to where they know not to put African American or black on that paperwork. They know to put American Indian on that paperwork.
I didn't think about that part, because even if people are still not, can't quite figure out. I know one thing folks are saying, I'm definitely not marking black and African Americans. So now you about to lose. Now it's like you will have to understand, how did we lose so many African Americans, but we gained so many Americans? You can't tell me that's not serious. Of course it's serious, because that has worldwide ramifications.
That's right. It's an issue when black is no longer a power source.
Yeah, oh, I like that. Because I can't see, I'm on the phone, but
yeah, that's why I'm reading them to you. I'm reading them to you. Those criteria for the win, it says American Indian on Alaskan Native or Alaskan Native. Then it asks for tribes.
Right. And I think that's where a lot of people are having issue. And I can understand it, because if you know you're this and this and that, how many bubbles is on there? So, I mean, I can understand, but to me, I don't see it as making a mistake. Again, when it comes to your international, your national, and your universal rights as an Aborigine people, you got to understand, you are the ones who expunged us from the record. You are the ones who have abused us. You are the ones who have created this situation right now where people have to struggle with this. You did this. See, we got to stop allowing them to keep victimizing us, in the sense that you make us responsible for what you did. And then we got to come to you, and I got to be afraid to have to prove something, this and that. I tell you what, I'm a wild one when it comes to that. When it comes to our rights, I don't give a damn. You didn't make me prove what African tribe I was in. You didn't make me prove no black tribe, the yellow tribe, the colored tribe. I'm not getting questions. That's just me. I'm not telling anybody else what to do, because you have your individual freedoms, and you got to listen to your ancestors and the people around you that you trust in wisdom and your own voice. I'm like, I'm just not going to let you punk me out of knowing who I am, because you want to make rules. And that's the whole thing about the federal recognition. You create rules that make it hard for us to do the things to get back, because you're still setting up roadblocks.
They've been setting them up for years.
Yeah, for years, because they knew we were coming. That's why you can have your federal recognition. When have we not been federally recognized? We've always been recognized. That's why we've been treated the way we've been treated. You know who we are. You recognize who we are. That's why we're always the statistic people, I call it. We're always the most of this and the most incarcerated and so-called the most with the educational gaps. And, we're still reeling from medical apartheid. I mean, come on, man. You're not going to keep playing this game with us. We're victims of genocide, of ethnic genocide, of human rights violations. See, we keep looking at ourselves on these little civil levels. Got to go higher. When you go into somebody's land and you tearing up a whole ethnic group, that's a universal. We are the ethnic people of this land. This is what you did to us on our land, and we're not going to just be punked back into submission because you said so. I personally, I don't give a damn. I'm not worried about you with your tribe. However I feel led to put down, that's how I'm going to do it. Prove something. Shoot, you prove something. Who are you? The paper you use and come off the tree off my land. So we got to start thinking like that. We have to at least verbalize that power, verbalize that, and believe it. I believe it. There's just certain things I'm not going to stand for. I'm not. You're not punking me out of nothing. I'm sorry. But at this point, do what you're going to do, because some things we can't control. but I'm not going to stay scared. There's no reason for us to be here in this time, and we're going to just let everything slide on back. I ain't flying back with them. I'm thinking strategically, though. I'm sitting on the tree, though. I am sitting on the branch perching, and I'm looking at it like you got to be like an owl. You got to be like the hawk, and you got to zoom in, and then but you got to bring your scope back out to look at the broader picture. We just got to be stealth with ours. We just got to think critical. That's all. That's all. We just got to use wisdom. Come together and build with our sensibilities and the senses that we have, and just look down and say, look at this thing from the whole broad spectrum, and let's put these pieces together. That's all we got to do. Be strategic. But I don't know. Ain't none of that punking us back into the sleep, and you're not going to make us afraid now to sign on to a census. No, you ain't doing that, because you're not supposed to do that to a people that you've corrupted, our existence here. And that's the stand we got to learn how to stand on those laws, on ADRIP, on all these universal laws, even in the human rights. You have a right to a nationality. That's in the universal, United Nations universal human rights. You don't even have to go to ADRIP for that. You have a right to a nationality. You have a right to assemble peacefully, and you have a right to present grievance to the government. That is your universal right. You can't tell me I can't have a nationality. I wish somebody would say something to him. I said, well, I'm going to bring out all my paperwork, and you tell me how I go from this to this to this, to Afro to this to this to this. And you tell me what happened. Because I didn't write this. Because you can even look on the census of those days. Our people didn't even sign. You can't tell me we signed on those, because those are all one. It's all one handwriting, right? That means one person was writing all that on there and erasing. You can see where they erase things and stuff. So, I mean, we just got to put it in its proper perspective. But I know people are excited about it.
That's right. So. You know how it happened. Say it loud.
Yeah.
They made it a trend. See how they did it? I keep telling folks, you make stuff a trend and folks easily follow. You make anything a trend, people easily follow. We've been dropping these jewels for years, and it still hasn't become a trend because people are watching, but they're not making it their everyday life. When people start doing this every day, it will start becoming a trend. And that's the major part that people are missing out. Once more people get aware of who they are. Can they hear me? Let me make sure they can hear me. Yeah, they can hear me. Once you get aware of who you are and you start letting folks know who you are, that will start making folks looking to see who they are, because people are going to get tired of guessing. They're going to want to know. And with that becoming a trend is what's going to be the easiest way for us to attack this. I don't know if it's going to have to be somebody said, she said, Mama told me make this appealing through attraction, not promotion. That's right. It's going to have to be some way that you turn the curve of everyone's thinking and get them into thinking about grandmas and who they are. And we can make that a trend for a good year. It'll be a trend that will never go away. It'll be something that will be go down in history. They finally, the black folks over there in America finally went ahead and found out who they are. It'll go down in history. The truth don't need no legs to walk on, needs to crawl. That's right. So that's the whole game plan, is trying to get more and more people to get interested in finding out who they are at the end of the day, not being biased to if you African or whatever you come up with, just straight out point blank rep who you are at the end of the day. So people will know, and you will know. You'll know where you need to be. You know what wars you need to fight. You'll know what you need to be down with. And it makes it a lot easier for you. And I bet you your whole energy and soul and all that other stuff will be at ease knowing that you're where you're supposed to be. You didn't have to guess this one out. You didn't have to wonder if you at the right place. You know where you supposed to be. And that's the game plan.
Yeah, honor your ancestors, your ancestors. We'll talk about that frequency, but honor your ancestors from within. And this is the time. We believe this is the time to do it. You know.
That's right. Someone said being a Star Child said being American Indian is way more than cool. It's the truth. Oh, that's some deep stuff right there.
But when it's the truth because it resonates with your connection to where your feet touch the soil. That's a phrase Eagle I came up with, where your feet touches the soil. It's it's profound. It's not about a checklist. It's not about a piece of paper. It's not about that. You understand? It's a soul connection. It's a spirit connection to the sun, the moon, and the noon. It's putting our pieces of our spirituality back together and connecting us. We're back with my mother. We're back with our mother. Mother spirit is here. Mama's here. Mama is here. She's crying out to us. We're crying out to her. The animals across the soil. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We Indians or we not. We just, man, don't sidestep your animal spirit. Don't sidestep that wind spirit that just came gently breathing on one bush and everything else is still. Pay attention to those signs. Pay attention to animal spirits connecting to you, trying to connect you. If you have a particular bird that you see every day or that's chirping, pay attention to those things. That's why I'm saying they want us inside looking at the TVs and glued to this mess all day long, but life is happening all around us outside and outside of us. There's messaging, and we need to tune into that. We have a right to that as Aboriginal people, as an Indian people. We have a right to that. Can't take that away because you're coming up with this other plan. We heal outside. That's where our healing is. We got to get into the elements. So we were able to be one with the elements and relearn how to do that. Be one with them. Well, we going with the wind. We can bring the wind spirit in, the rain in. We have those powers within us, that great strength. So that's the beauty of the other side of us. It's getting past just the paperwork part of it or the checklist part of it, but it's really the rebirth of who we are. And I think that's more significant of what they're thinking about when these people are in the woods again. When these people out there, swept up in one with the elements, that's the power. When we're taking care of each other and protecting each other and using our own medicinals and, our skin is looking good even though stuff is going on around us, but we're still looking younger. That's how you know we're healing too.
Ain't that something? Yeah, that lets you know something.
That's how you know we're healing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
They hate it too. They be trying to card you everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
Look here, man. I ain't no 21. Quit playing with me.
Yeah.
We need to see some ID,
but
sir.
You put us inside into this dead world. You keep us closed up. That's like a coffin. Man, we coming up out these coffins.
They just jealous.
Yeah.
They 20 and they look 40, and we 40 and we look 20.
I just wish everybody peace, and I just got some strategies. I'm just thinking about some things that we can do to address our concerns as indigenous people, as Aboriginal peoples, and make some moves in submitting some questions, some letters and things that we need to do. And that's a strategy that I'm thinking about. So
That's good.
I'm going to work on something that, we can all, people can add parts to it or whatever and say, hey, we got some questions and some concerns. And, we have the State Department. We have a Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor. We got all kind of ways that we can get our voice out and who we need to send some things to let them know. Woo-woo. We have communities. We have, even if we're spread out, we still have clans and bands of us who are awake, and we are representatives in our areas. We're here. We're standing as lights, as lighthouses for where we are. Even if all our relatives and our people in the neighborhood that we know we're related to aren't awake yet, that's the beauty of faith passage and the right of return. maybe the ancestors got us like this so that we can be lighthouses in different places. Like all of a sudden when it turns dark, we're a light so that others can come back home. At least you choose it, but at least we can light the pathway to safe passage and the right of return. That is universal. We have a right to that. So I'm going to work on some things, and I definitely pass it along to see how you all think about it. Let's roll with it. We want to ask some questions. We need to make an inquiry, and we need to use our pen and our voice to do it. Make some phone calls and say, hey, we got some concerns, Our clans down here and our bands want to know. That's it. We recognize it. Yeah, we recognize it. So I got to get rocking and rolling and doing a little education with these little children and trying to keep them moving in their indigenous studies and.
Oh yeah. When we gonna be able to get the mother tone? When we gonna work on the mother tone with you?
It'll be quieter. Actually, my niece and nephew, I think they're gonna go stay with their Meemaw. So it'll be quiet enough so I can actually do it. So what's the day? What day is today? I don't even know what day. My days start to run together. What day is today? What's the day of the week? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Today Wednesday, I think. See, I've been in the house so long, I don't even know what the day is. What the day is?
Is it Wednesday? Is it Wednesday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Okay, I know, right? These times start to roll together because there is no such thing as time, but we'll talk about that another time. But tomorrow, I could probably do it tomorrow.
All right. So we're gonna work on that mother tone. I can't wait for this. I like this.
I could probably do that tomorrow.
Right, so
Friday in the rising, like early Friday.
Well, I already have the book. Do you want me to share the book with everyone, like I did last time, and they can read along?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and I'll work on that. I'll try to work on that tomorrow. If not Friday morning, I know it'll be quiet. So.
Okay. Well, I have the book. So what I'll do is I'll put it in a form and I'll go live and share it with everyone. So when they get on tomorrow, they'll be a little bit familiar with it when you break it down to them, and they can read along with you.
Okay.
Everyone already have the book. That sounds good.
Yeah, it does. But thank y'all, and much love and peace to the whole united family of Marika.
Thanks for coming through, Chief.
Yeah, no problem. Thank y'all, and much love to you. And Shark, I'll hit you back up if you got
All right, and we'll talk to you later.
Yes, I shall. Peace.
Okay. All right, peace. All right, y'all. That was Chief Bluefeather down here in Central Georgia. They doing their thing. They really are a help to the community. They do a lot for their community. And we go to them and help them as much as we can, and they help us, and it's just a beautiful thing. I enjoy dealing with them, seeing them, the whole nine. Well, what we got going on? We got Truth Teller, Seven God was good with you, Davita was good, Tanya. Herbs are our medicine. I agree with that. I like some old herbs, some good herbs. I think I had me some herb drink this morning, some Murdoch and some I can't even think of the other one. It was Murdoch and mugwort. Yeah, I know what that is. A mugwort. It wasn't that bad neither. But other than that, what y'all got going on? Anybody can call in. The lines are still open before we get off. 678-250-3777. Let me see if I can pull that number up. And you can give give a statement. Let us know how you feel about it. Do you think that they're trying to put us back to sleep? And seeing how far they can push us with this coronavirus. How y'all feeling? What's y'all take on it? The line is almost 678-250-3777. Holla at your boy. Call in and give your opinion on how you feel about everything. Don't forget to share and like. Don't forget Phoenix page. Subscribe to her page. Tasha She page. Subscribe to her page. Don't forget to my page, y'all. I'm Coach Crew Cut with 2 Ks. Subscribe to my page and just show love. we mostly gonna be over here for right now, getting this work over here on No Grandma. And I think we do have an update on the tour. We will be giving that here shortly. Let me see what else we got going on. All right, let me see. Did nobody call in? I guess ain't no more questions. All right, so I want to thank Chief Bluefeather again for calling in and letting us know how she felt about the what's going on. I want to thank Zay Pro, Samuel Zay Pro, for the music. That's where I get my music from. The brother keep us with good music over and over and over again. He just keeps me with good music. Let me see. I'm making ginger key. I picked some pine needles yesterday. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Tasha she goes in on the pine needles. There's a lot of home remedies you can do to build your immune system, or not build, but just to have a healthy immune system. Because they say either you got a good one or a bad one, and you just need to watch what you eat. I always tell everyone to stick with your blood types and different things like that. That way, your heart don't have to work so hard, and you won't thicken the blood. But until we meet again, until we get back live, holla at y'all. Peace, and everybody have a great morning and be safe. I'm out of here, y'all. Let me see. Peace.